Alright y'all, it is Friday, day 6 of the 7 days of projects. And this is what we're making today. This is a toilet paper holder. Alright, let's get this thing made. For our toilet paper holder, I've got about 18 inches of 3/4 round stock that just came out of the scrap. I don't know if we're going to use it all, but this is what I'm going to use. I'm making this up as I go along. Big tools for this project used forge, anvil, power hammer, drill press, vise, and oxyacetylene. Hand tools used round punch, center punch, hammer, cold chisel, and a pair of tongs for the material. First thing I'm going to do is try to bring this to a dull point. So what I'm doing, I'm hitting two sides, because as I'm hitting those two sides, the anvil is hitting the bottom. And this is big, what is this? Three-quarter stock. So it's going to take a little while to get this worked down there. Let's throw some more heat on it. More of the same. We're about there. So anyway, more of the plan. We're going to get this down to a dull point, and then we're going to isolate the tip of this by doing half blows. I'll show you that when we get there. But we're putting a leaf, and we're going to draw it out a little. I use the power hammer for the drawing out. But we're going to put a little leaf, we're going to sink it, we're going to put veins in it and stuff. And that's going to be the top of our toilet paper holder. Okay, so I'm hanging off the part that we want to isolate, and I'm hitting right there. So what this does is this drives the material down there, but it's actually, tapering this right here. Well, yeah, it is tapering. So we're going to do this same kind of concept. Also on two sides, so we can get the lump that we're going to forge our leaf out of. Alright, a little more of the same. Okay, that's got our, my anvil's moving, good gosh, that didn't happen in a long time. But that's got our basic lump over here, that's what I'm going to call it officially, that's the lump. We got our lump basically isolated here, so now I'm going to go to the power hammer. refine it a little more, we're just going to throw a couple more heats on here and keep drawing it out just like this. Okay, next heat we're going to start rounding this. Now, when you're rounding, the thing to remember is if you want to take something square and you want to make it round, you hit the corners. And we're going to start on that easy and then just keep hitting them and rounding, and we'll get this into a nice little stem. Just the corners. Now at this point, what you can do, it depends on your vision for the end product. I'm going to leave these hammer marks because this is a stylized thing, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Now you can take this to the anvil, you can use a hammer, and you can remove every hammer mark. About this heat right here, this is just red going just to black, is about the perfect heat to remove hammer marks. But you can make this as slick as you want to, or leave that hammered texture on there. That is personal preference. Okay, I'm just going to straighten this up, ready to figure out where I'm going to start on my leaf. I think it would be best to come at it right here. Okay. Now something else I want to show you. You can do any of this with tongs, of course, but it's a lot easier to hold the material. I don't care who you are. So what I've been doing is grabbing it with tongs like this every couple of heats and quenching the material in to keep this cool enough to hold while I'm working. Okay, somehow I managed to turn my camera off during the actual forging of the leaf. But basically, I did straight down hammer blows until I got it out like this. And this is how it forged out naturally with just straight hammer blows. And then I started angling out to give the look that we've got here, where we've got kind of a central ridge and it comes down and the leaf kind of folds down. There's not a lot to this type of leaf, so I'm going to put a little bit of texture on there, some veining. Now your material does not have to be hot to do this sort of thing. Now be careful doing this on the anvil. Yeah, you can slide off of there and damage the face of your anvil. Okay, that's not a lot. That's just a little bit of a little bit of texture to it. Now what I'm going to do now is I want to put this hammered texture on my entire workpiece. So I'm going to grab it by this end, throw it in the forge, and I don't have to bring it up to regular forging temperature just to do that. So I'm going to get it warm and then take it to the power hammer and texture my whole workpiece. So, other side. Okay, I've got my helper here. I'm taking a round punch. And in setting, this will be where we drill our holes to mount this thing. Of course, you can just drill through the round, but this I like the look of this better. Okay, starting to take shape now. All I'm doing now is just knocking our leaf over a little bit. Bit of a organic feng shui going there. Oh, there we go. That's sexy. Alright. Now let's get into the other end and the bendy parts. And so this is a way to get a nice crisp and in the forge. Now if you might sit still, it cooperates. Get it to 90, here we go. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, now next bend, I need to go a little more, I think. Our next bend, we're going to bend it going that way, and that's what the toilet paper is going to go on. Now you can do this by putting it back in your forge, locking this in the vise, and bending it that way. But I'm going to use my torch to heat the spot where I want to bend it and do it that way. And I know there are people who are like, but Brandon, I don't have a torch. Well, get a torch, man.
Really? I should put my rosebud tip on. But considering I have more cutting to do, I'm just going to do this with the tip.
I'm going to do this go around. I don't have to monkey with this torque. I'm gonna shut it off. There. Alright. That Well, here's our finished product. You know, it will bolt or screw to the wall through these. You want to put those into a stud, or if it's a log cabin or something like that, of course it won't matter. Now, when it comes to the texturing, like I did on the whole thing, there are people who don't like that, and they're usually blacksmiths. Most of the people I deal with want some hammer marks, and they go, that's the way we know it was made by hand. So don't worry about that, or just, you know, pick your own style. It's really up to you. Okay, now there's several other things you can do with this project. You can have this arm kick back this way before coming out, where it's the toilet paper is centered. There's a lot of things you can do. This will just give you an idea. Once again, another tool for your arsenal. But one thing you do want to make sure you do with this is put a lot of polyurethane on it, because it's going to be in an area where there's moisture. So put several coats of polyurethane on it, and that should keep it nice and shiny for the duration. Now tomorrow will be Saturday, the 7th day, the end of the week, with our 7 days of projects, and we're making this. This is a crowbar, pry bar. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all behave yourselves.